Hall of Fame weekend out in Springfield. Our man Paul Pierce, I wouldn't say lifetime Celtic, but one of the great, all-time great Celtics, set to enter the Hall of Fame. And Paul doing a little bit of media rounds this week, and this man clearly does not give a F about anything. And it's almost, depending on which side of things you're on, it's kind of refreshing listening to Paul just kind of be open and talk about things honestly, where most people will kind of, bat stuff around. There's obviously the viral video incident where Paul's kind of living his life out there, doing things, ladies around, he's smoking, he's doing whatever. And he said, hey, this is what I do. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing illegal. And all you hypocrites are doing the same thing. On top of that, he's bashing ESPN on the way out. He's saying a lot of different things here. So just your overall reaction to Paul Pierce, or this version of Paul Pierce that's uncensored, unfiltered, and ready, to kind of, waltz into the Hall of Fame here this week. And I'm kind of curious what he's going to say there.
Oh, he's not waltzing. He's got the shoulders going back and forth. He is strutting into the Hall of Fame, and I love it.
Yeah.
This is first of all, he's living up to the name, The Truth, because that's really what he's spilling right now to anyone and everyone with an earshot. But the thing about Paul Pierce you have to understand is this is a man and that has made $195+ million in salary. So that money that he was getting from ESPN was more like lunch money. So now all of a sudden, you got people who say, we're not going to pay you any lunch money. You think he's going to lose sleep over that? Hell no. That's why it's very easy for him to just basically light a match, and pour a little kerosene at the doorstep as he's leaving the building. And, some of the things he says, there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, we've heard many individuals talk about how all ESPN wants to talk about is LeBron James, and understandably so. He moves the needle. We get that. But it's refreshing to hear that from someone who was within that inner workings, like Paul Pierce. And again, the point that he made about just the viral video was a legitimate one. People thought that might impact his Hall of Fame candidacy. And he's just like, you got people who smoke cocaine. You've got people who've done this, that, the other.
Doing a lot worse stuff, right?
And what he did wasn't illegal, didn't harm anyone, didn't do any damage. And it's kind of ironic that, the worldwide leader is cracking the moral
yeah, it's not illegal. It's a moral thing. If you frown upon that stuff, it's your choice to be offended. It totally is. But what he's saying is, don't wag your finger at me. You're doing, the guys out there are doing this and worse. I don't want to hear from them.
Right. And it just seems a little bit, because there's some things that ESPN is starting to look into venturing and being a part of that might raise some morality issues. And yet they're okay with that, but this they're not so okay with. So I love the fact that Paul is just kind of putting that out on blast and just saying, hey, y'all see the same thing I see. This is some BS.
Yeah.
As he struts into the Hall of Fame.
One other thing he said, and this is a nice kind of like far-reaching interview. He did it with Chris Mannix, I believe, and there's a lot of things he hit on there, talking about his Celtics days, pre-Big Three. One thing that really stuck out to me was, a back and forth he was having with Doc Rivers, where Pierce is the guy. He's the scorer there. He's really, and again, there's some people out there in the audience that think like, the Celtics were born in 2008, who don't, and again, it's not that long ago, but it seems, a zillion years ago, where Pierce is just putting up numbers and they're a pretty mediocre team and they're really struggling for relevancy here, there. And really that was one of the better teams they'd had since the Bird era that was doing anything, but still not nearly good enough. And Pierce was the man clearly, and didn't have that much talent around him. And there's a little anecdote there where he's saying, Doc Rivers telling me to pass more and be more passive and don't just shoot all the time. And he takes a dig at our man Yuri. Who am I going to pass to?
Yuri's like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, the quote, who am I going to pass to? Yuri Welsh. And that's not fair to Yuri, but again, but Yuri just got caught in a drive-by there. He didn't do anything wrong. It's totally, but anyway, he was right in the sense that there wasn't much talent there. And it makes me think, there's a present day kind of, analogy to what's going on currently with the Celtics, which is there were quite a few people last year who were saying the same thing about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They need to distribute more. They need to be more passive. And we had this argument a lot on our show, on different shows, and we talked about it, not argument, conversation. Do they, or who the F are they going to pass to? It is reasonable to, if you had Jalen and Jason the moment before they're about to go into the Hall of Fame in their DGAF moment, giving an interview where they don't care what they come off or sound like, would they be saying, who the F was I going to pass to, Romeo? Would they be saying the same things there? Is it fair criticism of fans, or would it be fair for them to react in the same way that Pierce did?
Well, I think it's ultimately on the player and just whether they were in that moment, because clearly this was something that Paul has been it's been in the bottle for a long ass time, and he was waiting to finally get it out as a system. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Tatum have similar vibes. Would shock me if he says something to the effect, what am I supposed to do? Give it to Carson Edwards? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Look for Shimmy? They're decent players, but when you talk about winning championships and you look at the guys that Paul played with when he won a championship, there's a different caliber of talent that he played with in 08 and 09 than his early days. And I think Tatum, if the Celtics are to win a championship and Tatum is to lead that charge, he's going to have a period of time where when they're in that championship winning mode, he's going to look back at these years and think back, damn, could I have seriously done more than I had to score 27 points for us to win 45, 46, 7 games.
And fans will look at it the same way, because in the moment you're critical and you're saying, because you see losses and you don't know, you just say, do something different. That's not working, try something else, with no real idea whether something else is going to work any better. But with the benefit of hindsight, 5-10 years from now, if the Celtics are able to build talent and have a better team, and Tatum and Brown are able to get a championship sometime later in their careers, and you see the cast of characters around them, we're going to look back and say, like, I can't believe we were clamoring for them to distribute the ball, as you said, to Semi Ojeleye and Grant and those guys. And again, no, it's not fair to bash those guys. They are who they are. But again, the expectations might be unrealistic. So again, made me think about it in this regard.